Hello, my rap name is Alex, and welcome to Cube Puzzle Fun, a YouTube channel where I like to talk about how to solve these interesting puzzle cubes in plain English so that it's easy to understand even if you don't know a lot about cubing. Um, you can sort of pick up what I'm talking about. Today I'm going to run through this thing. This is a mirror cube. It is a 3x3 mirror cube, and I am going to have a practice run at it today. Um, I don't know, see how long it takes me. This is not intended to be any kind of a comprehensive tutorial on how to do it. I only got this thing like a week ago, so I probably shouldn't be making a comprehensive tutorial on how to do it just yet. But I have learned a few things, so if you are looking for help on how to solve one of these things, this video should probably give you a few handy tips that will help you along the way. Let's get into it, shall we? I've only solved this thing a few times so far. Um, And one thing that strikes me right away is that there are these really big, tall sides, and there are these really tiny, thin sides, and that's mostly what you have to go on. On a Rubik's Cube, you have colors, and you get used to the colors. You get used to which colors are opposite one another, and you get used to just being able to check things according to color real quick. And there are no colors. It's all just solid mirror. So really what you need to learn to do right off the bat is to start to differentiate things by size. And the easiest ones for me to distinguish the size of are the really tall ones. Probably the really thin ones would work also, but the tall ones really stick out to me, and I like to get those grouped together right off the bat. And I also, in one thing that has helped me also a whole lot is that just like with a regular 3x3 Rubik's Cube where your centers are fixed, on this mirror cube your centers are fixed, so this is the this is the tallest center, so you know that all of your tallest blocks are going to have to eventually come up to wherever your tallest center are, where your tallest center is, in order for things to eventually line up. So uh, right off the bat, I like to start taking anything that's tall and sticking up anywhere on the cube as much as possible, and see if I can swing that up towards the top. Just sort of helps me get my orientation, see what I'm looking at. Um, and also, when you are looking at, there's obviously three different heights. There's a tall height, and a medium height, and a really flat height. But there's also different dimensions going across too. So right off the bat, I can see this wide thing is going to be grouped with these wide things. It's not going to be over here. So I'm going to have to swing this over here at some point, and I might as well just do that now. Bring it down to the bottom row, bring it over, bring this back to where it was, move this guy out of the way, and there you go. Bring that up. Yeah, and that's beginning to look a little bit more like how we want it to look. I see another one over here, a tall one that needs to come up to the top at some point. So that almost looks good, except I can see that this tall one is a little too wide, so it is not actually meant for here. It's meant for over here in the back. So let's Bring that down to the bottom. Swivel it around 180 degrees. And when we bring it back up, then it'll be back over here where it belongs on the back side. And one handy thing that I've noticed is that if you are good with 3x3 cubes, if you're not, sorry, but if you are good at the regular Rubik's 3x3 cube, and you know some of the finishing moves, like if, for example, you know how to swap uh, this and this on the top, then those same moves work on the mirror cube. So yeah, you can sort of have yourself a, unless you mess it up. I mess up frequently on this mirror cube, I find, but not quite. So anyway, this is one level. This is what it's like on a 3x3 cube when you solve the first color and have the ring around. So I have one whole level of the mirror cube solved, and once you do that, then a good thing to do right away is just swing these middles until you get them so that all of your centers are flush, because that will tell you what you're looking at. I have figured out which orientation gets all these centers flushed with the formerly top layer, now bottom layer. When you get that one side with the ring around it solved, then a lot of people will flip it over and it becomes the bottom. And so then you can just line up your centers, and that makes a nice sort of smooth testing. You can sort of test sizes against it. And I also see that I just by good fortune got one of these edges and a corner on top of it. Well, I mean, the corner on top of it's gonna go away there. It's gonna unsolve itself from time to time. But anyway, these two landed in the right place, and that is a nice start. In a Rubik's Cube 3x3, which even though this is a mirror cube, it's still a 3x3. A good first step is to get the first level across. A good second step is to get the first level corners, and a good step three is what I would be on, is to try to get the four edges in the middle ring to build a second layer on top of your first layer. I have one edge placed correctly already, and I just need to find which of these middle height edge pieces go where and get them to where they need to be. Let me see if there are any on top. There's one here on top, and also, as I was beginning to say, you can check them against various edges. You don't just have to start swinging them in, because the middle ones are very determined to tell if they're the exact right height. Like, for example, it would be very easy to convince myself that this top edge here goes along this plane, but actually if I bring it over here and check, I can see there's a tiny bit of overhang, and it does not actually go against this plane, it goes against this plane. So and then if I want to, I can also just quickly swing it this way to see if it lines up with that, or swing it this way to see. I mean, clearly it doesn't line up with that, but it does completely line up with that, so I can see that this is the spot that it's headed for. Now I want to test this one, because this is a middle size, and I'll test it against this. That looks good. And I can swing it either way to see, and this is completely flush, so that is right. And I can swing it away from where it's going and do single elevator. I can, when I do this single elevator, I can check to make sure that everything's looking right, like it's going to be land in the right place. do the double elevator, and when I swing that in there, that is correct. So looking good. We got one more to place, and I see that it's up on top here, and so I can swing it around until I find, I mean, I know where it's gonna go. It's gonna go in the place that looks all crooked and wrong, but it's good to double check and make sure that my orientation is correct, so that when it gets in there, it will be pointing in the right direction. And yeah, it looks like that is going to be a go. That's good. And up on top, I already have what they call, some people call it the arrow, some people call it the L, but I have two of these flat little pieces that are already laying flat, and two that are not laying flat. So I'm going to fix those two that are not laying flat so that they are laying flat, and then I'm going to swing this top all the way around until I find some that line up. And I have found two that line up and two that need to be switched. And just from doing a 3x3 many times, I'm pretty good with swapping those two just through muscle memory. So now we have what is this fourth step of a 3x3. We have the top cross solved, and it's sort of hard to visually see for sure if any of my corners are in the right place, because so many of the corners are very, very similar in size. But I think this corner now is, oh, I can tell that this corner is placed correctly, and it's even in the right, oh, no, it's not in the right orientation because I still didn't do my final swing to, okay, great. Okay, I don't think I have anything in the right place, so let me swing some corners around some more, and fix this time, and I think this one is in the right place, but it's just oriented wrong. So I'm gonna stick this in my safe spot. When you corner juggle, the spot that's closest to you and to the right is the safe space, and the other three corners juggle around. So I'm going to juggle these three and hope that all of my corners finally end up in the right place, if I can get this cube to turn at all. And I think that's it. All three of the corners are in the right place. Now I need to just change their orientation so that they will lay flat. And one more. If you have a lot of experience with cubing and 3x3 cubes, then hopefully a lot of these moves look familiar to you, and you know enough about what I'm doing to apply this to how to solve a mirror cube if you were just looking for a little extra help. Hopefully these were some tips. But if you were just hanging out wanting to watch somebody solve a mirror cube, there it is. That's how you do it. Yeah, this is fun. I really enjoy this. The differences of like having no colors at all, it really does a number. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's sort of like, I don't know, playing around with a sculpture. So yeah, that's me. My rap name is Alex. This has been Cube Puzzle Fun, and I'll see you next time.